Okay. Um, Hi, my name's Minakshi. I guess you should have known from the Facebook Dev Circle page. So, yeah, just a bit about myself before I actually begin with starting off on the topic. So, I'm a software developer. I work at this software consultancy, which is called as ThoughtWorks. And I've been working on React for the past couple of projects, and Hooks has really made it easy for me to sort of build a React app that we're actually working on at work. So yes, let's get started. Before that, I also want to share with you all. I'm a part of the Facebook Dev Circle Pune, and very recently, I think there was a session, a Dev Connect session with Dan Abramov. So I happened to attend it. I think Sangeeta from the Facebook Dev Circle. So I know her, and she made some arrangements for me to attend it, which is remote, of course. There's nothing that's going on in person right now. So it was really interesting. I think they spoke about Dan's background, and we also spoke about, so Dan spoke about certain things that we should look forward to in React, probably the surprise API, or even using hooks. There were questions about whether you should use Redux. Do you really need to know Redux? Or is it a Redux versus context kind of thing? So there were a couple of interesting questions and interesting talks, I think. Probably when the next sessions happen, which I think is coming on Monday. I think there's a session on Monday. But anyway, just always sign up for these sessions. I think they're a great learning. Cool. So I shall get started, yes, without any further delay. Okay. One more issue that I want to discuss with you all is I have only one desktop right now, so I'm just looking at the presentation. Probably if I see any comments in the live comments section, I might not be able to answer a few questions because I'm not looking at that side of the window. But I will keep coming back to it in case there's anything, or in case I fail to answer them live, which I'm going to try my best to. But in case there's any issue like that, I think I'll always be available on the Facebook page. So you all can just add comments over there, and I will be there. And of course, a lot of other developers and wonderful people that are part of the community can help out too. Okay, so this is the time when I stop looking at my face talking to you all. It's really disturbing and distracting just to look at my own face on the screen. So yes, let's get started. Probably spend some time looking at the presentation. Just to let you all know and just help me out here, I haven't done a dry run of this. It's really last minute. I just completed it 10 minutes before the time. Okay, let's just start. Yeah. Cool. I had posted on the Facebook Dev Circle group about any topics or advanced topics that Sangeeta said that any of you all would be interested in. And a lot of people sort of give a thumbs up to speaking about hooks. So before actually going into the detail of how to use hooks and things, I think let's focus on probably what's the motivation behind hooks and why React hooks came in the first place. So yes, what if I told you functions can have state? So for a couple of you all who have been using the function instead of the class components in React, they did not have a way to have stateful logic. They had started off with stateless functional components earlier. So the sales pitch for hooks is like you can have stateful functional components. Well, that's the sales pitch. Let's just figure all of the other reasons. Okay, so I'm just going to switch over to the chat window just to check if there's any disturbance or any problem, or probably you all could not hear my voice. Sorry for that. Just a second. I'm just checking whether everything's running fine. Sorry. Cool. I'll continue. Okay. So back in the days, I think React had started off with a create class API that they had in order to create class components. And then ES6 came about, and ES6 allowed us to write classes in JavaScript. So React went ahead and instead of having or continuing their own create class, they just adopted ES6 class syntax. So a few of the older components would look like this. They'd extend a React.component class, and they'll have their own constructor like for the class, and they'll have a render method that will return the component that's supposed to be shown on the UI. Yes, so couple of problems with this, I think. Yeah, before we move to class field, sorry, I'll move back. A couple of problems with this that people face is in the constructor, you have to remember to call the super with the props that you get. So this is calling the React.components constructor. That is one. And you'd also always have to remember to bind these event handler methods so that to bind them to this. And this may sound like really small things to do, but it sort of makes it too tedious to write the code to remember to do these again and again. And for example, if you happen to forget how to bind this, whenever you try to do a this.state, you would get the same old error. That is why, so now that's why, in fact, there were class fields that came about later. So if you just look behind, there is this constructor that we're using to instantiate the class. So there were problems with, again, binding with this and also calling super. All of that's fixed when class fields came about. So class fields allow you to initialize the state even without having the constructor. So you could do away with the super keyword and calling the super classes constructor, and you could also do away with binding to this. Yes, but just because of the class fields, that does not mean problem solved. So what we're trying to look at here is because of extending the React.component, we had a lot of lifecycle methods that we also got access to, which we started using. Now we have a component did mount, a component did update. Did mount would probably get called just after it's mounted, and this did after update after every update of the component. You check whether it matches the previous prop, and then you set things. So basically, if you just look at it here, the core logic of the fetch to do is split into separate methods. Whereas this is all related logic and probably should be as one piece together. Also, in component did mount, we would also add the listeners or subscribe to certain things. We'd all do a couple of tasks in the beginning, which would lead to a mix of all the unrelated logic in component did mount and splitting of the actual logic that should be together, which would make it hard to understand. Okay, so another issue, again, if we see, is to try to use stateful logic between components. For us to be able to have, so for example, if I have, say, a component A and a component B, and I tap on both of them, and both of them should show me tooltips. Then the logic of exactly showing the tooltip and how it should be shown and where the data for the tooltip comes, that's all certain common logic that is there that should be with both the components. So earlier, in order to share of this common stateful logic between the components, there was an idea which was called the higher order components that had come about. So if you look at here, for example, if I take a to-do component, and I want to have certain things. So for example, if there's a larger component, say there's another form filling or something like that, And on that component, I also want to add this to do. So to do is basically like the common logic that I want on a couple of my components. What I've done is created with to do higher order component. What this will do is this will take in the component that it needs to add to do to as a parameter, and then it will pass everything as props and state to that component. I will not go into details because I do not want to talk about what used to be. So probably for people who have used higher order components or are familiar with it, you would sort of recognize when I speak about this. Okay, the thing that we want to solve is to be able to share stateful logic across components. There were a couple of solutions. There was higher order components. Then there was this render props thing. So this render props also does similarly like the higher order components. Is it will take something as a prop, which is like a render, and it will have a callback to the other component that should have on top of it. If you see over here, okay, so if you look on the left, there is this checkbox kind of thing that we need to add to a component which needs to be added a theme which has authentication and which has a to-dos on the backdrop. So basically, if there are a couple of consumers of these higher order components all together in one component, it becomes very difficult to read it. And they just go on being continuously wrapped into each other. This phenomenon is also called as a wrapper hell. Again, if you look into the render props, it's really not easy to read or to modify this kind of code. It leads to sort of a callback hell. So there is this theme. Inside it, there is a render for the authentication. Authentication has render to to-dos. To-dos has the backdrop. So every time you need to make a change or you need to add any one consumer in the middle, you are going to have to need to change the entire component hierarchy for this. Yes, we've discussed a couple of the problems. So a couple of the problems are, I'll just go back through them again. There is not being able to share stateful logic among components. The class components getting too complex because of the lifecycle methods, the logic being split across everywhere. Yeah, this emoji is distracting me. Cool. So the solution to all of this, a couple of problems was something that they came up with in the React version, like the latest version. So we have React hooks, and let me tell you, if you start using this, you will be hooked like this man too. Okay. So all of the problems that were there with extending React.component were kind of solved by bringing functions inside the picture. Yes. Sorry, before that, I'm just going to go over to... Okay. Yeah, I was expecting to actually see live comments, so if there were any questions I could answer. That's fine. I'm just going to continue with the presentation. Yeah. Extending React.component lead to a lot of problems of being class components too complex, this keyword, super, even though class fields did solve that, but the class would still become messy because of the did update and will update and all of that. So they just decided to go ahead with functions and instead have functional components. So, but there are still problems that we discuss, which are, so if you do have functional components, how are you then going to be able to keep the state across the renders? How are you going to handle side effects? Side effects are certain things that we would do or take care as part of the component did mount. For example, if I want to fetch a list of to-dos, or if I want to initially load my component with certain fields or anything like that. Again, sharing stateful logic across components. So these are problems that are still we have to look at one by one. And as you see, Hooks solves all of these problems. So I'll go through with each of the solutions that Hooks has to solve our problems. Okay, so we have a useState hook. Now that the components are actually functional, we need to be able to maintain the state across renders. So this is a to-do example. there is, so you can actually, yeah, it's better I just show you the code. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yes, so we have, just give me a second. I will just, yeah, what I've done is, so that I don't screw up with anything, I've actually made copies of what exactly it is that I'm going to do. Sorry. Yeah. So this is one of the older components that you would see, React.component. We'll go ahead and make this a functional component, and then we'll have to figure out what to do about the state. So let me just go ahead and make it a functional component, okay? So there's export default class. Instead of class, we'll have a function. And there is, say, bye-bye to React.component. Okay. So there won't be a render now. They'll just be return. Close the bracket for render. Yes, show to do. There's no this keyword, so I'm going to have to change this. Remove the this keyword. Nice. Now, what do we do about this state? Or I should have actually shown you like how to use the component and then probably change it. This is just a simple component. The text that you enter in this text box here just gets displayed below. So, okay, let's do this one thing. So I can have, say, a cons to do, and I can just do this. Okay, and I will just show this to do. Okay. Yes. So, yeah. So what can happen is, if, so for example, if I just do this, okay, and there's some text here, which is, okay, my to do, and if I refresh, then that goes away. But I need to be able to maintain this to do state across re-renders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the use state hook that React has. So there is to do, which is the state of what the to do, the actual to do thing that I'm going to type in the text box. And there is this handler which is called a set to do, which is every time I'm going to change the state of the to do. So I'm going to use React dot use state, and initially I'm just going to keep it empty. And instead of the set state, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set to do, and I'm going to set to do, and what am I going to set it to? Yes, e dot target dot value. And I'm going to remove this set state. So just before I remove it, one thing that I want to show you all also as a difference is, so if I had a couple of other properties in the state, which is say a loading or anything like that, and when I'm setting state, I just supplied to do here. What set state would do is leave the other properties unmodified and just switch the one that I'm passing over. But what this set to do does, it just replaces the older value with the newer value. So I'll just remove the older set state and replace it with the hook of the use state. And let's just check. Okay, so this works. So we've very easily, if you just look at the code, there's no constructor, there's nothing, there's no state, there's just this hook that we have, the to do. And in fact, you do not even need this method. It's just very simple. So probably you can just do it in one line. There is set to do, and you just pass it e dot it dot value. So that I have to remember that this e comes from here. Yep. Okay. So we have a component here, which is functional, which is state. Very cool. Now, another thing that um, we could do is state would also, in fact, so there was a component that update where you used to have the previous state and you have like the next state and then you assign from the older one to the newer one. So let's just say what if right now I have one to do. So let's modify this component. Yeah, sorry. So let's modify this component. This already has a text box. What we can do is go ahead and add a button. We can just have a button. You can say this button is add item. And if I need to add items, I probably need to have a larger list of all the to-dos. So let's say I have all the to-dos and then I have another hook. Sorry if I haven't mentioned before, the initial parameter of this view state is the initial value that's going to be. So if I don't give it any value, I think it goes as undefined. I'm not too sure. I'll just have to check that. But anyway, so here I have given the initial value as an empty array to to-dos. So that's why, so if I just do this, what I'll do is to display, I'll just map the to-dos. I'll just, okay, I'll just create an unordered list here. Yes, and then map the to-dos. And now for each of the to-dos, I am going to return a li, and which is going to have the to-do. Okay. So, okay, if I look here, there's nothing, but if I add something, yes. If I have the initial value as to do, it's just going to show up on the bullets. But right now, let's just say we start with nothing. So nothing's going to start. So what I want to do is I want to be able to write a to-do here. And when I add, I want to show the list here. Okay. So let's get to doing that. Um, so anytime the text of this text area changes, the set to do will change, which is fine. I have this button. What I want to do on click is I want to have a method. Yeah, what that method will do is I want to be able to set the to-dos. How I want to set the to-dos is I want to add what is in the to-do to the list of to-dos. So I want to add to, like there are to-dos that are already there, correct? I want to return, I want to return this, I'm using the spread operator, okay, I'm using ES6 all over. I want to append to the older to-dos this new to-do that I'm adding, okay? And the map will just display all of this here. So I'll just, sorry if there's like, because of the right hand side or something it's missing. What I've done here, I've just made this method inline. I'm going to set all of the to-dos. So what this does is if I use a parameter over here, it will give me the previous value of to-dos, which currently is empty. So if the current is empty and I add an item, I have a to-do one, okay? So now the to-dos has one item already. And whenever I'm adding an item, it should append to the older list. So I have a to-do 2 here, I have a to-do 3, and I can just go on doing this. Yes. So this is the part where you can actually get access to the previous value of this, and you can continue. Okay, sorry for the music. I hope you all got this. It's really difficult again to get this done in a remote setting. I don't have live audience, so I have no clue if you all are struggling with this, if I should pause or if you all get it. I'm hoping for us to be really active on the Facebook Dev Circle page. So just ask all your questions and doubts. Of course, if you want links to any of these sandboxes, I'll be very happy to post it there as well. Okay, so let's see what I have here. I have a to-do list. I have, okay, so we're done with looking at it in the React.component format. I'm just going to remove this. Okay, we have the use state hook. I think we used that. We also appended to older to-dos. That's done. Okay. So there's another thing that you can do, which is a lazy initialization. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to go here, in fact. Okay, so confusing. Yes. Yes, let's say, for example, there was this expensive search for to-dos. I'm just going to copy this over. Okay, it's already here. Okay. So let's say this is an expensive search for the initial to-dos. And I want to be able to populate my list with this. So what I'm doing here is instead of supplying the values, to do 1, to do 3, okay, 1 second. Use state. Yeah. When I invoke it this way, I am just supplying the initial values to be to do 1, to do 2, to do 3. And every time that I re-render, yes, every time anything changes, if it re-renders, this expensive operation is going to happen again and again. So what if you do not want this expensive operation to happen on every re-render, but just at the initial one? What you can do in that case is you can pass a method instead of the actual value to this. So once usestate receives a method instead of the actual value, it understands that it needs to do a lazy initialization. And then it does it only once on the initial time. And on every re-render, it does not do this expensive operation again and again. Got it? I hope you did. Okay. Just going to scroll over. Okay. Yep. And that for you, my friends, is the use state hook. Okay. So let's look at where we were. We've resolved all of the problems with React.component with the functions. We saw how easy it is to move from the extends React.component to the function. We were wondering where would the state go now that we're using functions. Well, the use state hook allows us to preserve the value across re-renders. And if any of the values changes, it will also trigger a re-render for that value. So for example, if the to-do changed, it will trigger it so that it re-renders. And that's how we saw the list of to-dos come up. Every time the to-do value changed, say it had 2 items earlier, then it has 3 items, it did a re-render and it just showed the 3 items in the rendering part. Now there are side effects. Before we look at the problem of how we handle side effects, let's understand what are side effects. So side effects is something that is probably some work which is outside of the context of this local method, which interacts with the outside world. So for example, if I need to fetch an initial list, or if I need to make an API call, or if I need to, so basically anything which is out of the context of this current function or the current component that we're doing, something that interacts with the outside world, those are called as side effects. How we would do these side effects earlier is, I just wish I had an audience. I would have asked you all questions and gotten answers, but it's okay. Remote is a way of life. So yes, sorry, coming back. Where would we take care of these side effects earlier in the class components? Is we would take care of it. Component did mount and the component did update. Basically, the component did mount because that's the first thing that gets called after the component is mounted. But right now, since we're saying that we do not have the lifecycle methods, how are we going to deal with that? And you have the use effect hook. So let me link to the sandbox again. Haha, it's the same sandbox. Sorry, I've opened it like tens of times. Yes. We were here. Yeah. So let's continue, build up upon the same to-do example that we have. Um, let's say that we're getting these expenses search for to-do from an API call which is outside. So let me just do one thing. Let me change the initial state of this to an empty array. And now what I'm going to say is I need to make a call. Let's not call it expensive now. Let's call it something like this all to-dos. All to-dos. Okay. What I need to do is I need to get all of those to-dos. So what the use effect hook is going to do is I can make all of my API calls. I can do my side effects in here. The use effect gets called upon on every re-render. What am I going to do? Yes, okay. So I have this list of to-dos. I need to set it to the initial ones. So I'm just going to do set to-dos, and I'm going to add all the to-dos that I had earlier. Okay. Okay. Um, so what it's telling me is yeah. What this did is on every re-render, at least the first one, what it is, it set the to-dos to all of the to-dos that all to-dos gives me. Let's assume that all to-dos was coming from an API call. It would just get all of them and then keep it here. So start. Okay. Now, what if excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah. So let's say what if we were getting all of these to-dos from a prop outside? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, oops. Yeah, I'm just going to take a to-do list from the outside. Say initially that this is empty by default, but to-do list. Okay, so wait, what we'll do here is let's just say if the to-do list that I'm getting as props, if its length is equal to 0, then you just might as well use that expensive all to-dos method that is there to set it. But otherwise, you just set it to my to-do list. Okay. So every time I'll just have to reload this, I think. Yes. Every time a re-render happens, everything in the use effect is going to be called again and again. So what I can do is I can have a dependency as the second to the use effect. What this dependency does is if there is a change in the prop to-do list, only then is this entire thing going to be re-rendered again and again. Okay, there's some problem with my code sandbox. You probably might not be able to get it running here, but of course I can explain here. So what this one does is only if there is a change, this is a dependency to the use effect hook. So only if there's a change in the to-do list will all of these things happen again and again. And this is a dependency that I can specify. If I don't specify anything, this use effect is going to run on every re-render. If I specify an empty, okay, I'm just going to exit the sandbox for now. Sorry for the interruption. There seems to be some issue. Wow, there's an issue here as well. Well, I'm not sure what's causing the issue. I will share the links of the sandboxes with you all. What I'm trying to do is we have, yeah, so as we saw, we're checking if the to-do list is 0, if the length is 0, there are no to-dos. Just use the expensive method, otherwise we just set the to-do list to to-dos. And any of these side effects can take place in user. If I mention no parameter, it goes on re-rendering each time. But again, if I mention an empty parameter, the use effect just runs once initially and then not again. So this is for the use effect. There's another example which I have here is just comment this out. No, okay. Yes. Okay, at least this example is working. So I can show you all this one. What I've done here is I have a weight component and I have a I have a show property, and initially the show is false. So only after 3 seconds will the true, then you will get to see the message. Otherwise, you'll get to see a loading for the first 3 seconds. And again, use effect. So let's say this 3000 is not fixed and it's from prop delay. So I'll take a delay from the prop, and this will get re-rendered again and again. But what I do is I want to, okay, let me give it a value of let me say my effect hook depends. Yes, so for the just for the initial 2 seconds we have this, and after that we will see the welcome thing. Now inside the use effect, if you also want to do some cleaning, the set timeout is there, but every time the component unmounts, you want to kind of remove the timeout. So what you can do is you can just have an ID here, and effect also does, it gives you a method to clear off your resources. You can window dot clear timeout, and you can specify the ID. So every time the component unmounts, this timeout will also get cleared out. Let me check if that's all that I had for you all. Yes. So that's about the use effect hook. Then again, I'm really sorry if I'm going fast or slow with this. Just please help me out here. Okay. So we've handled side effects effectively. There was this problem of being able to share stateful logic across components. And yes, we can do that again with another way of hooks, which is called as custom hooks, because this is more declarative. You fall into the wrapper hell or the callback hell. And so let's look at this. I won't go to the code sandbox for this. My code sandbox has really been giving a lot of problems. But let's just look at it here, okay? So we know that we're building a to-do component. And what if I want it to be used across other components? Then I need to have some common logic of the to-dos. We would do it earlier with render props or having a higher order component, which we would have to wrap in every time, and we might have to change the tree of the component hierarchy if anything else changes. What we can do over here is we can have this hook, which is called as use to do, and this can take a to-do list to get initialized. It can have a to-do, set to-dos, loading, set loading, and every time it will set the to-dos, the loading will become false, and it will return to you to-dos and loading. So basically, in your component, what you just have to do is just call this method. So I really want to go to the code sandbox. Yeah. What we build here is, let's build a use to do, and let's have a to-do list that it takes in, and it's going to have all of these things. Okay, so it can have this to-do, set to-dos, it can have this effect, it can do all of these things. I'm just going to bring them up here. May not have the to do and set to do, but of course initial list and all of that, the loading it can handle. It can have these, and say for example if it has a loading, so let's just say it has a loading and a set loading, which is react.use state. Initially loading is true, so it's loading, otherwise it's false. So each time that the to-dos is set, let me set the loading to false. And yes, let's return two things. Let's return the to-dos and let's return loading. Okay. Now this use to do hook in our to do. So let's say if it gets a to do list from behind the props, we can have to dos and we can have loading, which we get from the use to do hook, which you give a to do list to. Yes. So here, if you look at it, yeah, I haven't used the loading part. But let's say, okay, so let's say um, if loading equal to true, then we will have loading, else I will show this thing. And I have made a mess out of this. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So now if you see it, oh god, I really have made a mess out of this. Okay, but my point is that you should be able to have a hook which you can reuse everywhere else. And it's very simple to use these hooks. You do not have to make a tree structure out of it, and you do not have to make like callback hell out of it. You can just make your custom hooks, and that's a really good part, and which allows you to share the stateful logic across the components. Okay, so let's review what we've learned. Again, I'm going over it. Initially, we had a React.create class, then ES6 came about, then we could just make in our own classes. There was a problem with classes. There was a this keyword, and then you had to call super, and you had to bind. But then there were class fields that came about, and the problem got solved. But still, with the lifecycle methods, there's a lot of clutter. You would have to have your logic in different methods, related logic in different methods, unrelated logic in the same place. The component demand would be flooded with like adding listeners, subscriptions, fetching API calls, etc. And that is why all of those problems were solved with one big move, which was just moving to functions. For React, everything moved to functions. Initially, it started off with moving only the components without the state to the function. Then they had to figure out a way to keep the state, maintain the state across renders. And we did this with the help of the use state hook that is there. The use state hook allows you to, whenever the state of that hook is changed, it allows you to gives you a re-render, and it also allows you to keep the state across renders. Then there's side effects, anything that we need to do which is outside the scope of this method, which is calling APIs, the subscriptions, adding listeners, anything like that, which could be done in the use effect hook. Use effects solve the problem. It can be called initially, it can be re-rendered only based on certain props. So for example, only if your to-do list changes, the effect can be invoked. There was sharing stateful logic across components. You would not able to share stateful logic. You would run into wrapper hell, callback hell, custom hooks to solve the problem for us. Okay, so there are other important hooks that, yeah, we're almost time if I have managed to hold the attention of at least a few of you all. There are other important hooks that we haven't spoken about. Probably if you want another session, we can do them later, but I think they'll be a good read if you just want to go and explore. There is use reducer. What use reducer does is if there are certain components whose properties whose changes are like really related to each other and it affects the other one, then they could all go together in a use reducer hook. I would definitely not prepared for this. I'm really sorry. I'm getting messages and the pings or something that you can hear. Really sorry. I'm going to be better prepared next time. Use ref is a lot of times use ref is used to handle the changes in the DOM components to get the value of the DOM components. So this is, for example, if you want to maintain state, but you do not want to set, like how you have the handler, the set state handler, you do not have such a handler, but you just want to just get across the state across three renders. So for example, if there's some value that's stored in a text box and that's the value that you want to get, even if the re-render happens, then useref can help you. Use context. If you're familiar and if you already use context, the use context API just makes it easier to use them. Use callback, use memo are some things that help in the performance. So please do go through them. Before we end today, I just want to share Tyler McGinnis, yes. So this is an online course which is www.tylermcginnis.com. I'll not say I'm a back-end developer, I'm a full-stack developer, if in your world, if it's really a thing. But I would mostly write back-end code. I wasn't interested much in the front-end code. But this series that I actually follow, and it's just $5 per month. Sorry, I'm not promoting it, but it's really helped me. So Tyler McGinnis is a really nice teacher, and he has really good courses on React, which will not only just teach you React, but will also develop an interest for you to learn more. I think that's very important. And that has changed my outlook to writing the UI code. And of course, the React Scope documentation is really rich. It has a lot of examples. It's something that you can use. And yes, just go ahead, use it, have fun with React. There's a small announcement that I need to make before we leave. And that is, Yes, that is Facebook Developer Circle Hyderabad and Facebook Developer Circle Pune will be hosting a watch party of the session in the Facebook group. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I understand now. I'm sorry. Really bad. Okay. So there's dance session, I think, tomorrow, and the session that I actually attended, which was pretty cool. And I followed Dan Abramov on Twitter. He's super. You should follow him too, though he tweets too much. But so there'll be a watch party for that session tomorrow, for which Facebook Developer Circle Hyderabad and Pune will be hosting. So make sure you follow the page and you attend that session. I think that will be fun. Sorry for any of the glitches, last minute glitches. I hope this was useful to y'all. If this is useful to y'all, I'm a really nice person. Please feel free to reach out to me for anything, any confusions, anything that you might want to share, or even might want to teach me if my session was too bad and I need a lot of learning. I'm happy to do that as well. So just feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for having me. Yes. Thank you so much. Bye.